Mythological Resonance, a comparative analysis of deities and archetypes across ancient pantheons. Introduction, the phenomenon of mythological resonance. The study of ancient civilizations reveals a fascinating and persistent phenomenon, the appearance of strikingly similar mythological themes, character archetypes, and narrative structures across cultures separated by vast geographical distances and distinct historical trajectories. From the sun-drenched banks of the Nile to the cold forests of Scandinavia, from the fertile crescent of Mesopotamia to the shores of the Mediterranean and the plains of India, ancient peoples developed complex pantheons and mythologies to explain the cosmos, natural phenomena, and the human condition. Within these diverse belief systems, figures embodying concepts like supreme skyborn authority, nurturing earthbound fertility, cunning disruption, and dominion over the dead recur with notable consistency. Narratives explaining the world's origins or recounting catastrophic floods also exhibit profound structural similarities. This recurrence has long intrigued scholars, prompting investigations into the potential origins of such parallels. The very existence of comparative mythology as an academic discipline underscores that these resonances are widely considered significant, demanding explanations that go beyond mere coincidence or the universal, yet general, human tendency to find patterns in the world. This report aims to conduct a rigorous comparative analysis of key figures and narratives within 8 major ancient pantheons: Greek, Roman, Norse, Egyptian, Mesopotamian, Hindu, Celtic, and Mesoamerican, specifically Aztec, based on available materials. The objective is to identify specific deities, archetypes, and mythic structures whose shared characteristics appear unusually pronounced, potentially defying simplistic explanations. By examining the domains, attributes, core myths, and iconography of these figures, and evaluating them against potential explanatory frameworks, including shared linguistic and cultural roots, such as Proto-Indo-European origins, cultural diffusion and syncretism through historical contact, universal psychological archetypes as proposed by theorists like Carl Jung, and independent development arising from similar human experiences and environmental observations. This analysis seeks to highlight those parallels that appear most profound and challenging to account for solely through chance or known historical interactions. The focus will remain on established gods, goddesses, and significant mythical beings as presented in foundational myths and religious practices, rather than extending into more speculative areas like cryptids mentioned in the initial user query, which fall outside the scope of this comparative mythological analysis. 2. Foundational archetypes mirrored across cultures. Comparative analysis reveals several foundational archetypes, recurring character types embodying fundamental concepts that manifest with striking regularity across the selected pantheons. These archetypes, while varying in specific cultural expression, point towards shared human preoccupations with power, nature, life, death, and social order. The sovereign Sky Father. Perhaps the most widely recognized archetype is the Sky Father, a male deity embodying the heavens, supreme authority, cosmic order, and often atmospheric phenomena like thunder and rain. This figure frequently holds the position of king or patriarch within the pantheon. The concept finds its most compelling linguistic and thematic roots in the reconstructed Proto-Indo-European Dyeus Ph2ter, literally Father Daylight Sky God. Scholars consider Dyeus the most securely reconstructed Pi deity. He personified the bright, diurnal sky, the dwelling place of the gods, Dewus, and was associated with life-giving rains. Often paired with the Earth Mother, Taim, his celestial nature rendered him all-seeing, a suitable witness to oaths, though likely not initially conceived as a supreme ruler or primary god of justice. The sun was sometimes visualized as his lamp or eye. He was father to other key Pi figures like the divine twins and the dawn goddess H2Asos. The name Dyeus itself derives from the Pi root Dyu, meaning to shine, sky, or daylight, linking directly to cognate words for day, sky, and deity across Indo-European languages. This Pi figure finds its clearest descendants in the Greco-Roman sphere. The Greek Zeus Zeta Epsilon Upsilon Sigma and the Roman Jupiter Ipiter are direct linguistic continuations of Dyeus Ph2ter. Both rule as kings of their respective pantheons from Mount Olympus or its equivalent, wielding the thunderbolt as a symbol of power and governing the sky, weather, law, and cosmic order. Their shared iconography includes the thunderbolt, the eagle, and the oak tree. Their foundational myths mirror each other, detailing their rise to power by overthrowing their father, the Titan Cronus, Greek, or Saturn, Roman. Both are notorious for their numerous extramarital affairs, resulting in a vast progeny of gods and heroes. Zeus, respected as chief of the gods, was equated with many foreign weather gods, leading Pausanias to note that Zeus is king in heaven is a saying common to all men. Jupiter held the highest position among Roman gods, protector of the state and its laws, worshipped at the temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus on the Capitoline Hill. In Norse mythology, the picture is more complex. Odin is the chief of the Asur gods, known as the All-Father, Odin Alfader, a title potentially echoing the pi epithet, though this connection is less secure. He shares traits with Zeus Jupiter, such as kingship, a paternal role, father of Thor and Balder, among others, wisdom, and involvement in overthrowing the previous powers, the giants. However, Odin's primary domains differ significantly. He is more strongly associated with wisdom, poetry, magic, cider, death, presiding over Valhalla, and wandering the earth in disguise, rather than Zeus's direct control over thunder and the sky. Odin's name also lacks the clear pi-diu root. Tyr, another Norse god, is linguistically linked to Dius, Tiwes from pi-diwus, a derivative of Diu, and may represent an earlier Germanic sky god associated with law and justice, whose prominence waned, possibly supplanted by Odin and Thor. When Romans encountered Germanic peoples, they often identified Thor, the thunder god, with Jupiter, rather than Odin. Beyond the Indo-European sphere, parallels exist, though direct linguistic links are absent. In Mesopotamia, An, Sumerian or Anu Akkadian was the supreme god of the heavens and king of the gods, residing in the highest celestial realm. Considered the ancestor deity and prime mover in creation, he embodied the sky and maintained cosmic order, with his main cult center in Uruk. Egyptian mythology presents Ra, often syncretized as Adam-Ra, as the primary sun god, a creator figure and king of the deities, traversing the sky daily in his solar barge. Horus, the falcon-headed son of Isis and Osiris, was god of the sky and kingship, with the pharaoh considered his earthly embodiment. The syncretic deity Ra-Horikti combined aspects of both. However, complicating a simple sky father archetype, the sky itself was often personified by the goddess Nut, while the earth was the god Geb. Other notable sky father figures include the Vedic Dyaus Pita, the Slavic Perun, the Baltic Perkunas, the Hittite Zeus, the Scythian Papios, Father Zeus, possibly the Celtic Dagda through his title Olafthar, Great Father, and Native American figures like Jich Manitou. The prevalence of the sky father archetype is undeniable, yet its specific manifestations reveal significant cultural adaptation. While the pi-dius appears focused on the bright sky, paternity, and perhaps reign, his most direct descendants, Zeus and Jupiter, integrate sovereignty, active rulership, and the potent symbol of the thunderbolt much more strongly. This shift towards a storm god aspect in Mediterranean traditions might represent later developments, possibly influenced by syncretism with Canaanite deities or the pi-storm god Perquenos. Odin represents a different trajectory, blending kingship with wisdom, magic, and chthonic associations, death Valhalla not characteristic of the core Dius or Zeus figures. Anu embodies a more remote, ultimate authority residing in the highest heaven. This divergence suggests that while the fundamental concept of a paternal sky deity might be ancient or arise naturally from observation, the specific powers, myths, and cultural importance attributed to this figure evolved considerably based on regional influences and internal cultural developments. Furthermore, the strength of the evidence connecting these figures varies. The direct linguistic lineage from pi-dius to Zeus, Jupiter, and Dyaus Pita provides robust support for a shared historical origin among these specific Indo-European cultures. This connection is less certain for Tyr and absent for figures from non-Indo-European traditions like Anu, Mesopotamian, Ra, Egyptian, or Jich Manitou, Native American, whose similarities might stem from independent invention based on the universal prominence of the sky, or perhaps from very ancient, untraceable diffusion or archetypal structures. This distinction highlights the different explanatory mechanisms potentially at play, shared heritage versus convergence through other means. Table 1. Comparative Sky Father Archetypes. Pipe Deity, Pantheon, Pipe Key Domains, Pipe Symbols, Pipe Core Myth Role, Pipe Pi Link, Dius, Pipe Pipe Dash 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 Pipe. Pipe Zeus, Greek, Pipe Kingship, Sky, Thunder, Law, Order pipe Thunderbolt, Eagle, Oak pipe King of Olympians. Overthrew Cronus pipe Yes, Direct, pipe Jupiter, Roman, pipe Kingship, Sky, Thunder, Law, State Protector pipe Thunderbolt, Eagle pipe King of Gods. Roman equivalent of Zeus pipe Yes, Direct, pipe Odin, Norse, pipe Kingship, Wisdom, War, Poetry, Magic, Death pipe Spear, Gugnir, Ravens pipe All-Father. King of Aesir. Seeker of Knowledge pipe Possible, Title? Pipe Tyre, Norse, pipe Law, Justice, War, Early Sky? Pipe Sword Spear pipe Sacrificed Hand to bind Fenrir. Diminished Role pipe Yes, Derivative, pipe Anu, Mesopot. Pipe Supreme Sky, Heaven, Authority, Order pipe Horned Cap. Pipe Primordial Father God. Head of Pantheon pipe No pipe Ra, Egyptian, pipe Sun, Creation, Kingship pipe Sun Disk, Falcon pipe Daily Journey Across Sky. Chief Deity, often, pipe No pipe Horus, Egyptian, pipe Sky, Kingship, War, Protection pipe Falcon, Eye of Horus pipe Avenged Osiris. Embodied by Pharaoh pipe No pipe Dyaus Pita, Vedic, pipe Sky, Heaven pipe Sky pipe Early Vedic Sky Father. Paired with Prithvi pipe Yes, Direct, pipe Perun, Slavic, pipe Thunder, Sky, War pipe Axe, Eagle, Oak pipe Chief Slavic God, often. Storm God pipe Possible pipe Dagda, Celtic, pipe Earth, Abundance, Life Death, Druidry pipe Club, Cauldron pipe Leader of Tuatha De Danann. Good God. Great Father, pipe Possible, Title? Pipe Be the Nurturing Earth Mother. Complementary to the Sky Father, the Earth Mother archetype represents the terrestrial sphere, fertility, agriculture, creation, and the nurturing principle. This figure is often, though not always, depicted as the consort of the Sky Father, receiving his fertilizing rains. The pi counterpart to Dyaus Ph Tutor is reconstructed as *Dea Tutor, the Earth Mother. She embodies the fertile earth, the source of life and sustenance, often portrayed in contrast to the bright heavens as the vast, dark dwelling place of mortals below. Their union, symbolized by rain falling from sky to earth, was likely central to pi conceptions of cosmic fertility. In Greek mythology, Gaia or Gaia is the primordial personification of earth. Emerging from chaos, she spontaneously bore Uranos, sky, and Pontos, sea, before mating with Uranos to produce the Titans. Her Roman equivalent is Terra or Tellus Mater. While Gaia is foundational, the primary mother figures in later Olympian worship often shift to goddesses like Hera, marriage family, or Demeter, agriculture. Vedic tradition features Prithvi Mata, Earth Mother, frequently invoked alongside Dyaus Pita, reflecting the pi pairing. However, as in Greece, later Hindu traditions elevate other goddesses to supreme importance within the feminine divine, such as Parvati, consort of Shiva, goddess of power, devotion, motherhood, or the encompassing concept of Devi Shakti. Celtic mythology, particularly Irish, prominently features Danu as the mother goddess of the Tuatha De Danann, people of the goddess Danu. She is strongly associated with the land, fertility, abundance, wisdom, and nurturing, symbolized by flowing water and the earth itself. In Mesopotamia, Ninhursag, mistress of the mountain ranges, also known by names like Ninmah, Nintur, or Aruru, functions as the primary mother goddess. Her domain centers on birth and creation, and she was sometimes claimed as mother by mortal rulers. Her main cult centers were later established in Adab and Kish. She was often considered the consort of Enki, god of wisdom and water, or sometimes Suapai. Egyptian mythology presents a notable inversion of the typical pattern. The earth is personified by the male god Geb, while the sky is the goddess Nut. The paramount mother goddess figure is undoubtedly Isis, wife of Osiris and mother of Horus. Isis embodies motherhood, marital devotion, magic, healing, and resurrection, becoming one of the most widely worshipped deities, her influence extending into the Greco-Roman world. Hathor, another major goddess, also encompasses aspects of motherhood, love, joy, music, and feminine fertility. Among the Aztecs, Coatlicue, serpent skirt, is a powerful earth mother goddess. She represents the earth as both the source of life and the devour of the dead, embodying the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. As the mother of the gods, including the Aztec patron deity Huitzilopochtli, she holds a central position. Her fearsome appearance, often depicted with a skirt of snakes and a necklace of human hearts and hands, symbolizes her connection to these primal forces. The Earth Mother archetype, therefore, manifests widely, but its direct identification with the physical earth and its pairing with a sky father show significant variation. Figures like Gaia, Terra, Prithvi, Danu, Ninhursag, and Kotlikyu align closely with the earth personified concept. However, the Egyptian inversion, Gebnut, demonstrates this is not universal. Furthermore, in many pantheons, Greek, Hindu, Egyptian, the most prominent feminine deities evolve beyond simple earth personification into complex great goddess figures like Hera, Demeter, Parvati, or Isis, who encompass broader domains such as marriage, agriculture, power, or magic, often overshadowing the more primordial earth figures. The foundational pairing of Sky Father and Earth Mother, Dyaus Theum, clearly echoed in the Vedic Dyaus Prithvi and the Greek primordial couple Uranos Gaia, seems to become less central in the active mythologies of later pantheons. While the conceptual duality of sky and earth remains potent, the primary divine consorts who feature most prominently in myths and cult often diverge from this original pairing. For example, Zeus and Hera, Odin and Frigg, Osiris and Isis. This suggests that while the sky-earth polarity might be an ancient conceptual framework, the specific divine relationships emphasized in developed mythologies often reflect evolving social structures, religious concerns, and narrative developments beyond this primordial model. Table 2. Comparative Earth Mother Archetypes. Pipe Deity, Pantheon, Pipe Key Domains, Pipe Symbols, Pipe Core Myth Role, Pipe Pi Link, Theum, Pipe Pipe dash 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 Pipe. Pipe Gaia, Greek, Pipe Primordial Earth, Ancestor of Gods Titans, Pipe Earth, Pipe Boruranos and Titans. Aided Zeus vs Cronus, Pipe Possible, Concept, Pipe Terra Tellus, Roman, Pipe Earth, Fertility, Pipe Earth, Cornucopia, Pipe Roman equivalent of Gaia, Pipe Possible, Concept, Pipe Prithvi, Hindu Vedic, Pipe Earth, Sustenance, Pipe Cow, Pipe paired with Dyaus Pita, Mother Earth, Pipe Yes, Direct, Pipe Danu, Celtic Irish, Pipe Earth, Fertility, Abundance, Motherhood, Pipe Flowing Water, Earth, Pipe Matriarch of Triatha Danan, Pipe No, Pipe Ninhursag, Mesopotamian, Pipe Birth, Creation, Mountains, Pipe Omega Symbol, Pipe Mother Goddess. Creation myths, for example, with Enki, Pipe No, Pipe Isis, Egyptian, Pipe Motherhood, Magic, Healing, Resurrection, Pipe Throne Hieroglyph, Ankh, Pipe Resurrected Osiris, Mother Protector of Horus, Pipe No, Pipe Kotlikyu, Aztec, Pipe Earth, Fertility, Life, Death, Rebirth, Pipe Serpent Skirt, Skull Necklace, Pipe Mother of Gods, Inko, Huitzilopochtli, Pipe No, Pipe Geb, Egyptian, Pipe Earth, Male Deity, Pipe Goose, Pipe Separated from Nut, Sky, Father of Osiris, Isis, etc. Pipe No, Male, Pipe C, the liminal trickster. A third pervasive archetype is the trickster, a figure characterized by cunning intelligence, mischief, boundary crossing, and the disruption of established norms. Tricksters often act as mediators, messengers, or agents of change, sometimes bringing cultural benefits, culture heroes, but frequently causing chaos through their actions, which stem from complex, often amoral motivations. They are frequently shapeshifters, highlighting their fluid, liminal nature. Jung identified the trickster as a fundamental archetype reflecting aspects of the collective unconscious. Norse mythology offers Loki as a quintessential, yet complex, trickster. Though living among the Aesir and considered a blood brother to Odin, Loki is of giant ancestry and maintains an ambiguous relationship with the gods. He is a master shapeshifter, famously transforming into a mare to lure away a giant stallion, subsequently giving birth to Odin's eight-legged horse, Sleipnir. His intelligence often helps the gods out of predicaments he himself may have caused, yet his mischief escalates towards malice. He engineers the death of the beloved god Balder by tricking the blind god Hodder into throwing mistletoe, Balder's only vulnerability. He fathers monstrous children destined to fight the gods, the wolf Fenrir, the world serpent Jormungandr, and the underworld goddess Hel. Ultimately, Loki's actions align him against the gods, leading to his punishment and his role in bringing about Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods. In the Greco-Roman world, Hermes, Greek/Mercury, Roman, embodies the trickster archetype, albeit often in a more integrated and less malevolent fashion than Loki. From infancy, Hermes displays cunning, stealing his half-brother Apollo's sacred cattle and inventing the lyre from a tortoise shell. He serves as the swift messenger of the gods, particularly Zeus, bridging the gap between Olympus, Earth, and the underworld. He is the patron of travelers, merchants, thieves, and rhetoric, embodying cleverness, adaptability, and movement across boundaries. As psychopomp, he guides souls to the afterlife. While mischievous and associated with trickery and theft, Hermes generally operates within the divine order, facilitating communication and commerce, contrasting with Loki's ultimately destructive trajectory. Prometheus, a titan in Greek myth, represents a specific type of trickster, the culture hero. His most famous act is stealing fire from the gods or heaven and gifting it to humanity, enabling progress and civilization. This act of defiance against Zeus, motivated by benevolence towards mortals, results in his eternal punishment, being chained to a rock where an eagle devours his regenerating liver daily. Prometheus is also sometimes credited with creating humans from clay. His actions, while involving trickery and rule-breaking, are primarily aimed at benefiting humanity, distinguishing him from the more self-serving or chaotic impulses of figures like Loki or the playful mischief of Hermes. Trickster figures appear globally. African mythologies feature Shu, Yaruba, a divine messenger and guardian of crossroads who mediates between the gods, Orishas, and humans. Shu embodies chance, uncertainty, and the disruption of expectations, often using tricks to expose human folly or test individuals. Anansi the spider is another prominent West African and Caribbean trickster, known for his cleverness in obtaining stories, food, or escaping trouble. Native American traditions are rich with trickster figures like Coyote and Raven, who often play roles in creation myths, steal essential elements like fire or light, and embody a blend of cunning, foolishness, and amoral appetites. The Aztec god Huehuecoyotl, Old Coyote, presided over music, dance, unrepressed sexuality, and trickery. Analysis across these examples reveals that while the core function of the trickster as a boundary crosser, rule breaker, and embodiment of liminality is consistent, the ethical dimension and ultimate impact of their actions vary dramatically. Prometheus acts as a suffering benefactor. Hermes integrates his mischievous talents into the divine order as a vital messenger and facilitator. Shu serves as a necessary agent of dynamism and communication, challenging complacency. Loki, however, evolves from mischievous ally to the catalyst for cosmic destruction. This spectrum suggests that the archetype itself represents the inherent instability and potential for change, both creative and destructive, within any ordered system, with different cultures emphasizing different facets of this disruptive potential. The frequent association of tricksters with shapeshifting and, occasionally, gender variability, Loki becoming a mare, Odin also possessing gender-shifting abilities, Shu's multiple forms, general trait further underscores their fundamental role in transgressing boundaries and defying fixed categories. They embody fluidity, transformation, and the subversion of rigid structures, making them powerful figures for exploring the ambiguities and complexities of existence. Table 3. Comparative Trickster Archetypes. Pipe Deity, Pantheon, Pipe Key Traits, Pipe Notable Myths, Actions, Pipe Cultural Role, Pipe Pipe dash 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 Pipe dash 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 Pipe dash 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 Pipe dash 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 Pipe. Pipe Loki, Norse, Pipe Mischief, Shapeshifting, Intellect, Malice, Pipe Baldur's Death, Siring Monsters, Ragnarok, Pipe Disruptor, Agent of Chaos, Change, Pipe Pipe Hermes, Greek, Pipe Cunning, Speed, Messenger, Thieves, Eloquence, Pipe Stealing Apollo's Cattle, Guiding Souls, Psychopomp, Pipe Messenger, Mediator, Guide, Pipe Pipe Mercury, Roman, Pipe Commerce, Travel, Thieves, Messages, Pipe Roman equivalent of Hermes, Pipe Messenger, God of Commerce, Pipe Pipe Prometheus, Greek, Pipe Intellect, Forethought, Benefactor, Defiance, Pipe Theft of Fire for Humanity, Creation of Humans, Clay, Pipe Culture Hero, Suffering Benefactor, Pipe Pipe Shu, Yaruba, Pipe Messenger, Crossroads, Chance, Disruption, Pipe Tricks revealing human flaws, for example, Two-Colored Hat, Pipe Mediator, Guardian, Agent of Change, Pipe Pipe Anansi, Akan Caribbean, Pipe Cleverness, Storytelling, Mischief, Pipe Obtaining Stories from Sky God, Outwitting Others, Pipe Folk Hero, Explainer of World, Pipe Pipe Coyote, Native Aimer, Pipe Cunning, Foolishness, Appetite, Shapeshifting, Pipe Creation Roles, Theft of Firelight, Numerous Tricks, Pipe Culture Hero, Disruptor, Teacher, Pipe Pipe Raven, Native Aimer, Pipe Cunning, Theft, Transformation, Creation, Pipe Stealing the Sun, Moon, Stars, Creation Roles, Pipe Culture Hero, Transformer, Pipe Pipe Huehuecoyotl, Aztec, Pipe Music, Dance, Sex, Cleverness, Trickler pipe patron of feather workers. Associated with luck fate pipe god of uninhibited pleasure mischief pipe D the ruler of the netherworld. Virtually all mythological systems grapple with the mystery of death and conceptualize an afterlife, often presided over by a specific deity who rules the realm of the dead. This archetype embodies the finality of death, the transition between worlds, and sometimes justice or judgment in the hereafter. In Greek mythology, Hades, later known also by the Roman name Pluto, is the god of the underworld, the realm also frequently called Hades. He is one of the three major brothers, along with Zeus and Poseidon, who divided the cosmos, receiving the subterranean realm of the dead. His kingdom is typically depicted as a gloomy place separated from the world of the living by rivers like the Styx and Acheron, guarded by the three-headed dog Cerberus, and accessed via the ferryman Charon. Hades rules alongside his consort Persephone, Roman, Proserpina, whom he famously abducted. Importantly, Hades is generally portrayed not as an evil figure akin to a devil, but as a stern, implacable, yet just administrator who maintains the boundary between life and death and ensures souls remain in his realm. The Norse underworld, Hel or Helheim, is ruled by a goddess of the same name, Hel. She is one of the monstrous offspring of Loki. Her realm is the destination for those who die of sickness or old age, as opposed to warriors who die in battle and go to Odin's Valhalla. Helheim is generally described as a cold, dark, and unwelcoming place, but not necessarily one of active torment for all its inhabitants, simply the abode of the non-heroic dead. Hel herself is often depicted with a dual appearance, half beautiful woman and half corpse. Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife are particularly elaborate. Osiris becomes the principal god of the dead and the afterlife, known as the Da'at, after his own death and resurrection. Murdered by his brother Set and restored by his wife Isis, Osiris embodies the promise of resurrection and eternal life for the deceased. He presides over the judgment of souls in the Hall of Truth, where the heart of the deceased is weighed against the feather of Ma'at, truth and justice. Anubis, the jackal-headed god, plays a crucial role as the god of mummification, the guide of souls through the underworld, and the overseer of the weighing ceremony. Thus, the Egyptian underworld involves both a ruler who judges and offers potential rebirth, Osiris, and a guide who facilitates the transition, Anubis. Mesopotamian mythology names the underworld Kur or Kala. Its primary ruler is the goddess Ereshkigal, queen of the great below. She is the older sister of Inanna Ishtar, whose famous myth involves a descent into Ereshkigal's realm, from which she barely escapes. The Mesopotamian underworld is generally depicted as a bleak, dusty, and shadowy place, a land of no return, where the shades of the dead exist dimly. Nergal, a god associated with war, plague, and the destructive heat of the midday sun, becomes Ereshkigal's consort, sometimes sharing rulership. The Aztecs conceived of the underworld, Mictlan, as the lowest of 9 levels, ruled by the death god Mictlantecutli and his wife, Mictlantecuhtli. Mictlantecutli is often depicted as a skeletal figure adorned with symbols of death. Reaching Mictlan involved a perilous 4-year journey for the soul. However, Aztec belief included multiple afterlives. Warriors who died in battle, women who died in childbirth, and those killed by lightning or drowning went to different, often more desirable, destinations associated with the sun god or the rain god Tlaloc. Mictlan was the fate for those dying of ordinary causes. Other significant underworld rulers include Yama in Hindu and Buddhist traditions, who judges the dead. The Celtic lords of the dead like Dawn, Irish, or Iran, Welsh. And the Japanese goddess Izanami, who rules the land of the dead, Yami, after her own death. The universal presence of an underworld ruler reflects the inescapable reality of death across all cultures. However, the characterization of these rulers and the nature of the realms diverge significantly, mirroring diverse cultural attitudes towards death and what lies beyond. Some figures, like Hades and Hel, are primarily neutral administrators of gloomy, inescapable realms. Others, like Osiris and Yama, incorporate judgment and the possibility of a positive or negative outcome based on earthly deeds. Still others, like Ereshkigal and Mictlantecutli, preside over destinations depicted as uniformly bleak or terrifying. This variation suggests that while the need to conceptualize death and its domain is universal, the specific interpretations, whether death is merely an end, a transition, a judgment, or a terror, are deeply shaped by cultural beliefs and anxieties. Osiris, with his unique emphasis on resurrection and judgment leading to potential eternal life, stands apart, reflecting a particularly strong Egyptian focus on overcoming death. Interestingly, the gender of the underworld ruler shows more variation than that of the Sky Father. While many are male, Hades, Osiris, Mictlantecuhtli, Yama, Dawn, Aran, Nergal, several prominent rulers are female. Hel, Ereshkigal, Izanami, and Persephone holds significant power as queen alongside Hades. This contrasts with the predominantly masculine Sky Father archetype and suggests that cultural conceptions of death, the earth, and the afterlife were perhaps less rigidly associated with male authority than were notions of celestial power and supreme rule. Table 4. Comparative underworld rulers. Pipe deity, pantheon, pipe realm name, pipe key roles, pipe associated beings, myths, pipe nature of realm, pipe dash 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 pipe. Pipe Hades Pluto, Greco-Roman, pipe Hades / underworld, pipe ruler, maintainer of order, pipe Persephone, consort, Cerberus, Charon, pipe gloomy, neutral, orderly, pipe Hell, Norse, pipe Hell / Helheim, pipe ruler, pipe Loki, father, Garmer, hound, pipe cold, dark, gloomy, pipe Osiris, Egyptian, pipe Da'at / afterlife, pipe judge, ruler, god of rebirth, pipe Isis, wife, Anubis, guide, weighing heart, pipe judgment, potential rebirth, pipe Anubis, Egyptian, pipe Da'at / afterlife, pipe guide, embalmer, Weiger, pipe assists Osiris in judgment, pipe guide, not ruler, pipe Ereshkigal, Mesopotamian, pipe Ker / Kala, pipe ruler, queen, pipe Inanna, sister, Nergal, consort, pipe bleak, dusty, land of no return, pipe Nergal, Mesopotamian, pipe Ker / Kala, pipe ruler, king, plague, war, pipe Ereshkigal, consort, pipe bleak, associated with disease, pipe Mictlantecuhtli, Aztec, pipe Mictlan, lowest level, pipe ruler, pipe Mictlantecuhtli, consort, skeletal form, pipe bleak, perilous journey, pipe Yama, Hindu Buddhist, pipe Naraka / underworld, pipe judge of the dead, pipe Chitragupta, recorder, pipe judgment based on karma, pipe Dawn, Celtic Irish, pipe Tekduin, house of Dawn, pipe lord of the dead, pipe ancestor figure, gathering place for dead, pipe otherworld, entry point, pipe Iran, Celtic Welsh, pipe ANNWN, otherworld, pipe ruler, pipe Puile, mythical exchange, CWNANNWN, hounds, pipe otherworld realm, pipe Izanami, Japanese, pipe Yumi, land of dead, pipe ruler, pipe Izanaji, husband, death during childbirth, pipe polluted land of darkness, pipe E, the multifaceted great goddess. Beyond the specific archetype of the Earth Mother, many pantheons feature exceptionally powerful great goddess figures who consolidate multiple significant domains, often including love, fertility, sexuality, war, magic, wisdom, and sovereignty. These figures represent a potent and complex manifestation of feminine divinity, sometimes overlapping with or absorbing the Earth Mother role, but frequently transcending it. Mesopotamia's Inanna, Sumerian / Ishtar, Akkadian, stands as a prime example of this archetype. Worshipped as the Queen of Heaven, she simultaneously governed the seemingly contradictory domains of love, sexuality, fertility, and warfare and political power. She was associated with the planet Venus, depicted with lions, and her main cult center was Uruk. Myths portray her as dynamic, ambitious, and striving for power, notably in her descent to the underworld to challenge her sister Ereshkigal. Her relationships with lovers, particularly Dumuzi, are often depicted as capricious or destructive. Scholars suggest her complexity might stem from the syncretism of earlier, separate deities. Significantly, while associated with fertility, she was generally not seen as a mother goddess in the nurturing sense, focusing more on passionate love and the power derived from it. Her dual nature as both life-affirming, love, fertility, and destructive, war, presents a holistic, powerful, and sometimes paradoxical vision of the feminine divine. In Egypt, Isis achieves paramount status, synthesizing numerous roles into one figure. She is the epitome of the devoted wife to Osiris and nurturing mother to Horus, but also a powerful sorceress capable of resurrection and healing. Her association with the throne and pharaohs links her to kingship and divine authority. Her cult became immensely popular, spreading throughout the Greco-Roman world, where she was often identified with local goddesses like Demeter. While not primarily a goddess of war like Ishtar, her command of magic and her role as protector of the rightful king Horus imbue her with immense power and authority. Contrastingly, Greek mythology tends to distribute these potent feminine domains among several distinct goddesses. Aphrodite governs love, beauty, and sexuality. Athena embodies wisdom and strategic warfare. Hera presides over marriage, family, and holds the status of queen of the gods. Demeter controls agriculture and embodies maternal grief and nurturing. While powerful individually, no single Greek goddess typically consolidates the breadth of domains seen in an Anna, Ishtar, or Isis. Aphrodite, likely influenced by the Near Eastern Astarte, a cognate of Ishtar, primarily retains the love-beauty aspect, largely shedding the war and political power associations. Demeter's story, particularly her search for Persephone and the establishment of the Eleusinian mysteries, connects her deeply to the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, echoing themes found in the myths of Isis and Osiris or in Anna and Dharmazide. Hindu tradition presents a unique model through the concept of Devi, goddess, or Shakti, power, the supreme feminine principle, understood as the dynamic energy underlying the cosmos. This singular concept manifests in a multitude of forms, each embodying specific aspects of the divine feminine. Key manifestations include Parvati, consort of Shiva, representing devotion, power, and motherhood; Durga, a fierce warrior goddess created to combat demons; Kali, goddess of time, change, destruction, and liberation; Lakshmi, consort of Vishnu, goddess of wealth, prosperity, and fortune; and Saraswati, consort of Brahma, goddess of knowledge, music, and the arts. While specialized, these goddesses are ultimately seen as facets of the one great goddess, allowing for a framework that is both diverse and unified, encompassing creation, preservation, destruction, wisdom, wealth, and power within the feminine divine. Celtic mythology features complex female figures like the Morrigan, often appearing as a trio of sisters, Badb, Macha, Mamain Anand. She is associated with battle, fate, death, prophecy, and sovereignty. Her ability to shapeshift, often into a crow or raven, and influence the outcome of wars makes her a formidable figure, embodying the connection between sovereignty, land, and martial power. She contrasts with figures like Brigid, another triple goddess associated with healing, poetry, smithcraft, fire, and inspiration, representing more nurturing and creative aspects of feminine power. Comparing these figures reveals different cultural strategies for conceptualizing concentrated feminine power. Mesopotamia and Egypt favored highly multifaceted goddesses in Anna, Ishtar, Isis, who embodied a wide array of potent, sometimes contradictory, domains. Greek tradition tended towards specialization, dividing these powers among distinct figures. Hindu thought posits a single underlying feminine principle, Shakti, expressing itself through diverse manifestations. Celtic myths present complex individual goddesses with specific, though sometimes overlapping, domains of sovereignty, war, or creativity. The recurring linkage of goddesses associated with love and fertility to domains of war and sovereignty in Anna, Ishtar, the Morrigan, the Canaanite Anat, potentially early aspects of Aphrodite or syncretic figures like Anahita is particularly noteworthy. This combination, which might seem paradoxical from a modern Western perspective, suggests that ancient cultures often perceived life-giving and life-taking capacities, nurturing and aggression, fertility and martial prowess, as interconnected aspects of fundamental feminine power, perhaps tied to the concept of sovereignty over both land and life itself. Table 5. Comparative Great Goddess Archetypes. Pipe Deity, Pantheon, Pipe Key Domains, Pipe Consort Key Relationships, Pipe Core Myth Role, Pipe Notable Syncretism Parallels, Pipe Pipe Dash 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 Pipe. Pipe in Anna, Ishtar, Mesopotamian, Pipe Love, Sex, Fertility, War, Political Power, Venus, Pipe Dharmazide, Lover Consort. Ereshkigal, Sister, Pipe Descent to Underworld. Gilgamesh Encounter, Pipe Astarte, Canaanite. Aphrodite, Greek, Pipe Isis, Egyptian, Pipe Motherhood, Magic, Healing, Resurrection, Kingship, Pipe Osiris, Husband. Horus, Son, Pipe Resurrection of Osiris. Protecting Horus, Pipe Demeter, Greek. Widespread Roman cult, Pipe Aphrodite, Greek, Pipe Love, Beauty, Pleasure, Sexuality, Pipe Hephaestus, Husband. Aries, Lover, Pipe Judgment of Paris, Various Love Affairs, Pipe Venus, Roman. Ishtar, Astarte, Origin. Pipe Athena, Greek, Pipe Wisdom, Strategic War, Crafts, Pipe Virgin Goddess, Pipe sprang from Zeus's head. Patron of Athens, Pipe Minerva, Roman. Isis Ishtar aspects. Pipe Devi Shakti Hindu pipe supreme feminine principle. Power pipe manifests as consorts of Trimurti pipe underlying energy of cosmos pipe umbrella concept. Pipe Parvati Hindu pipe power, devotion, motherhood, fertility. Pipe Shiva husband. Pipe 1 Shiva through austerity. Mother of Ganesha pipe manifestation of Shakti. Pipe Durga Hindu pipe warrior goddess, protection, destruction of evil. Pipe independent form of Devi. Pipe slayer of Mahishasura buffalo demon. Pipe manifestation of Shakti. Pipe Kalai Hindu pipe time, change, destruction, liberation. Pipe associated with Shiva. Pipe emerged from Durga Parvati, fierce destroyer. Pipe manifestation of Shakti. Pipe the Morrigan Celtic Irish pipe war, fate, sovereignty, prophecy, shapeshifting. Pipe sometimes consort of Dagda. Pipe battle prophecies. For example, Cuchulainn. Triple form. Pipe Badb, Matcha, Namain aspects. Pipe Brigid Celtic Irish pipe poetry, healing, smithcraft, fire, inspiration. Pipe daughter of Dagda. Pipe triple goddess, patron of arts, crafts, healing. Pipe Saint Brigid Christianization. Pipe 3 echoes in narrative, shared mythic structures. Beyond archetypal figures, striking similarities appear in the structures of entire narratives across different cultures. Certain story patterns, particularly those dealing with cosmic origins and cataclysms, recur with remarkable consistency, suggesting deep connections or shared ways of conceptualizing fundamental events. The Deluge, a comparative study of flood narratives. One of the most pervasive and well-documented narrative parallels is the flood myth, found in numerous cultures across the globe. These stories typically describe a catastrophic flood sent by divine powers to destroy corrupted or disobedient humanity, with a small remnant surviving, often through divine warning and the construction of a vessel, to repopulate a cleansed world. The core elements recurring in many prominent versions include divine cause. The flood is initiated by gods or a supreme deity, often due to displeasure with human behavior, wickedness, noise, overpopulation, or as part of a cosmic cycle. Divine warning. A chosen individual, often righteous or favored, receives a warning about the impending deluge and instructions on how to survive. Chosen survivors, typically a single man and his immediate family, or sometimes just a couple. Construction of a vessel. The survivor builds an ark, boat, or chest to escape the flood waters. Preservation of life. The vessel carries the survivors, and often pairs of animals or seeds, preserving life through the cataclysm. The flood. A devastating inundation covers the earth, destroying the previous population. Landing site. The vessel eventually comes to rest on a mountain top as the waters recede. Sacrifice ritual. After survival, the hero often performs a sacrifice or ritual to thank the divine powers. Repopulation. The survivors become the progenitors of a new human race. Comparing specific prominent versions highlights both the structural consistency and the theological divergences. Mesopotamian Utnapishtim time, found in the Epic of Gilgamesh. This is one of the oldest recorded versions. The god Enlil decides to destroy humanity because their noise disturbs the god's sleep. The wise god Ea Enki warns the hero Utnapishtim in a dream, instructing him to build a large boat. Utnapishtim loads his family, relatives, craftsmen, and beasts of the field onto the vessel. After a 7-day storm and flood, the boat lands on Mount Nisir or Namush. Utnapishtim releases birds, a dove, swallow, and raven, to check for dry land. Upon emerging, he offers a sacrifice, and the gods, except Enlil, gather around. As a reward for preserving life, Enlil grants Utnapishtim and his wife immortality. The focus is less on human sin and more on the somewhat capricious actions of the gods and the hero's obedience and wisdom. Hebrew Noah, the account in Genesis chapters 6-9 presents a strong moral dimension. God sees the wickedness of humanity and resolves to destroy them with a flood, sparing only the righteous Noah and his family. God instructs Noah to build a massive ark and take aboard his wife, 3 sons, their wives, and pairs, or sometimes 7 pairs of clean animals, of all living creatures. The flood lasts 40 days and nights, or 150 days depending on interpretation. The ark comes to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Noah also releases birds, a raven, then doves, to find land. After the flood, Noah builds an altar and offers sacrifices. God makes a covenant with Noah, promising never again to destroy all life with a flood, symbolized by the rainbow. The emphasis is on divine judgment, human sin, righteousness, and the establishment of a divine human covenant. Greek Deucalion. In Greek legend, Deucalion, son of the Titan Prometheus, and his wife Pyrrha are the survivors. Zeus, angered by the impiety of the Pelasgian Age, or the Bronze Age, decides to wipe out humanity. Warned by Prometheus, Deucalion builds an ark or chest, Larnax. They float for 9 days and nights, while the flood destroys everyone else, eventually landing on Mount Parnassus, or Othrys, or Etna depending on the version. Distressed at being alone, they consult the oracle of the Mies, or Zeus, who instructs them to repopulate the earth by throwing the bones of their mother, interpreted as stones from Mother Earth, over their shoulders. The stones thrown by Deucalion become men, and those thrown by Pyrrha become women. This version also involves divine judgment but features a unique, almost riddle-like method for repopulation. Hindu Manu, recounted in the Shatapath Brahmana and later Puranas, the story features Manu, the archetypal first man. While washing his hands, Manu catches a small fish that asks for protection, promising salvation in return. The fish grows enormous and reveals itself as an avatar of Lord Vishnu, warning Manu of an impending cosmic flood, Pralaya. Manu builds a boat as advised. When the flood comes, he ties the boat to the fish's horn, which guides him safely through the waters to a northern mountain, Himalayas. As the sole human survivor, Manu performs a sacrifice, pouring ghee and milk into the waters. From this offering, a woman, Ida or Ila, is born, and together they become the progenitors of the current human race, Manvantara. This version emphasizes cosmic cycles, divine intervention in avatar form, and regeneration through ritual sacrifice. Other variations exist, such as the Aztec tale of Nata and Nna surviving in a cypress log, or the Norse myth where the world is flooded not by water but by the blood of the slain giant Ymir. The Chinese myth of Yu the Great focuses not on survival via an ark, but on the hero's ingenuity in controlling and ending the flood. The striking structural parallels, particularly between the Mesopotamian, Hebrew, Greek, and Hindu accounts, divine warning, chosen male survivor, vessel, animal preservation, mountain landing, post-flood action leading to repopulation, make the flood myth one of the strongest candidates for a narrative pattern spread through diffusion or stemming from a common ancestral source, possibly rooted in catastrophic regional floods in Mesopotamia. The sheer geographical spread and detailed similarities seem difficult to explain solely through independent invention or a purely psychological archetype, although the theme of destruction and renewal certainly resonates archetypally. Despite the structural similarities, the theological and cultural nuances embedded within each version are distinct. The motivations attributed to the divine powers, caprice, Mesopotamian, moral judgment, Hebrew, Greek, or cyclical cosmic process, Hindu, and the means of regeneration, immortality, Utnapishtim, covenant, Noah, clever interpretation, Deucalion, ritual sacrifice, Manu, reflect the specific worldviews and value systems of each culture. The flood myth thus serves as a powerful example of how a shared narrative framework can be adapted to convey unique cultural and religious messages. Table 6. Comparative flood myth elements. Pipe myth, culture, pipe cause of flood, pipe hero figures, pipe vessel type, pipe survival method, pipe landing site, pipe outcome repopulation method, pipe dash 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 pipe. Pipe Utnapishtim, Mesopot. Pipe gods annoyance, human noise, pipe Utnapishtim, pipe large boat, pipe family, craftsman, animals, pipe Mount Nisirnamush, pipe sacrifice. Hero granted immortality, pipe Noah, Hebrew, pipe human wickedness. God's judgment, pipe Noah, pipe ark, pipe family, pairs of all animals, pipe MTS. Avarerit, pipe sacrifice. Divine covenant, rainbow, pipe Deucalion, Greek, pipe human wickedness. Zeus's judgment, pipe Deucalion, and Pyrrha, pipe ark/chest, pipe couple survives 9-day flood, pipe Mount Parnassus, pipe throwing stones over shoulders, become people, pipe Manu, Hindu, pipe impending cosmic dissolution, Pralaya, pipe Manu, pipe boat, pipe guided by fish, Vishnu avatar, pipe northern mountain, pipe sacrifice. Generates offspring, Ida, via ritual, pipe Nata and Nna, Aztec, pipe divine warning, Tezcatlipoca, pipe Nata and Nna, pipe cypress log, pipe sealed inside, eat only maize, pipe. Pipe does a bay dash greater than turned into dogs? Variant endings. Pipe Pipe Emir's blood. Norse. Pipe slaying of giant Emir Pipe Bergelmir and wife Pipeler. Chest. Pipe couple survives blood flood Pipe. Pipe repopulate world of giants Pipe B Genesis variations. Common threads in creation myths. Myths explaining the origin of the cosmos and humanity. Cosmogony and anthropogony also exhibit recurring motifs, suggesting common ways ancient cultures conceptualized beginnings. Creation from clay earth. The idea that humans were fashioned from earth or clay is remarkably widespread across unrelated cultures. In Mesopotamia, the god Enki is credited with creating the first humans from clay, often mixed with divine blood or spittle, primarily to serve the gods. Greek mythology has Prometheus molding men from earth and water. The Hebrew Genesis account describes God forming Adam of the dust of the ground and breathing life into him. Egyptian mythology features the ram-headed god Khnum, a divine potter who fashions human bodies on his potter's wheel. Chinese myth tells of the goddess Noah molding people from yellow earth. This recurring motif likely stems from the tangible connection between earth soil and life, agriculture, and the observable properties of clay as a malleable, form-giving substance. Primordial beings pairs. Many creation stories begin with primordial entities or pairs from whom the cosmos or later generations of gods and mortals descend. The Greek tradition starts with Chaos, followed by Gaia, Earth, and Uranos, Sky, whose union produces the Titans. The reconstructed Pi mythology posits the foundational pair Dyaus Ph Tutor, Sky Father, and Haeme Tutor, Earth Mother. Norse mythology describes the giant Ymir, formed from ice and fire, whose body parts become the components of the world after he is slain by Odin and his brothers. Aztec cosmology includes a Mediotl, a primordial dual god representing the unity of opposites. Abrahamic tradition begins with Adam and Eve as the first human pair, while Norse myth has Ask and Embla as the first humans, created from trees. Emergence from chaos or primordial waters. Creation frequently begins ex nihilo, from nothing, or, more commonly, emerges from an undifferentiated state of chaos or primordial waters. Greek myth begins with chaos, a void or gap. Egyptian cosmology starts with none, the infinite, inert watery abyss from which the primordial mound and the first gods, often Adam or Ra, emerge. Mesopotamian creation, particularly the Babylonian Enuma Elish, depicts the ordering of the cosmos through the god Marduk's victory over Tiamat, the personification of the chaotic primordial saltwater sea. The cosmic egg. Some traditions envision the universe or a creator being hatching from a primordial or cosmic egg. While less detailed in the provided snippets for the core pantheons, this motif is known from Orphic traditions in Greece, the Hiranyagarbha golden embryo egg concept in Hindu scriptures, and the Chinese myth of Pang hatching from an egg to separate heaven and earth. The egg serves as a potent symbol of potential, containing all elements necessary for life and the cosmos within a single form. World tree / axis mundi. Several mythologies feature a cosmic tree or pillar, axis mundi, that connects different realms, typically the heavens, the earth, and the underworld, serving as the central axis of the cosmos. The most famous example is Yggdrasil in Norse mythology, the great ash tree whose branches reach heaven, trunk passes through the earth, Midgard, and roots extend into the underworld, hell, and other realms. Mesoamerican cultures, Maya, Aztec, also depicted world trees connecting the different cosmic levels. This motif symbolizes connection, stability, and the pathway between different states of being or cosmic planes. The recurrence of these specific motifs, particularly the creation of humans from clay, across diverse and often historically unconnected cultures, Mesopotamia, Greece, Levant, Egypt, China, is striking. It strongly suggests either extremely ancient diffusion of these ideas before major population dispersals or the operation of fundamental cognitive or archetypal patterns linking the earth element directly with the concept of life's origins. However, while the building blocks might be similar, the specific narratives and agents of creation vary significantly, reflecting distinct cultural cosmologies and hierarchies. Some myths emphasize a struggle against primordial chaos to establish order. Mesopotamian Marduk versus Tiamat, Greek Olympians versus Titans. Others depict a deliberate act of crafting or divine speech. Hebrew Genesis, Egyptian to creating through thought and word. Still others describe a process of emergence, growth, or separation from a primordial unity. Egyptian Nun, cosmic egg myths. These different narrative approaches reveal fundamental variations in how cultures conceived of the creative process itself, as conflict, artistry, natural unfolding, or an act of divine will. IV. Unraveling the similarities, potential explanations. The existence of such pronounced parallels in archetypes and narratives across diverse ancient cultures demands explanation. Scholars have proposed several frameworks, often complementary rather than mutually exclusive, to account for these mythological resonances. A shared ancestry, the Proto-Indo-European hypothesis. For similarities observed among cultures speaking Indo-European languages, Greek, Roman, Norse, Hindu, Celtic, etc., the theory of a shared linguistic and cultural ancestor, Proto-Indo-European, PI, provides a powerful explanatory model. By comparing related languages, linguists can reconstruct aspects of the PI language, and by comparing related mythologies, comparative mythologists attempt to reconstruct elements of PI religion and worldview. The strongest evidence for PI mythology lies in linguistic cagates for deities. The case of the Sky Father, Dyaus Ph Tutor, is paramount. His name is directly reflected in Vedic Dyaus Pater, Greek Zeus Pater, and Roman Iopater from Old Latin Jus Pater, as well as related forms in Illyrian Dipaturos, Lewian Tatus Tiwes, Palaic Ties Papas, and potentially others. This linguistic chain provides compelling evidence for a sky god figure inherited from the common ancestor culture. Similarly, the pairing of the Sky Father with an Earth Mother, Dhyam Tutor, reflected in the Vedic Dyaus Prithvi pairing, is considered a core PI mythological structure. Other reconstructed PI figures or concepts include the divine twins, sons of Dyaus, related to Greek Dioscuri, Vedic Ashvins, the dawn goddess H2 Asos, daughter of Dyaus, related to Greek Eos, Roman Aurora, Vedic Ushas, and possibly a foundational conflict myth or a divine warrior figure associated with thunder, Perquenos, potentially related to Slavic Perun, Baltic Perkunas, Norse Georgian, Hittite Tarhuna. George Dumazil's controversial tripartite ideology proposed that PI society and mythology were structured around three functions: sovereignty, magical and heretical, war, and fertility productivity, which he argued are reflected in the organization of various PI pantheons. The PI hypothesis offers a robust explanation for deep structural and linguistic parallels specifically within the Indo-European family. It suggests a genuine historical connection and shared cultural inheritance dating back thousands of years, likely to the Pontic-Caspian steppe region during the Chalcolithic or early Bronze Age. However, this framework cannot explain parallels between Indo-European cultures and those outside this linguistic family, such as Egyptian, Mesopotamian, or Mesoamerican traditions. Furthermore, not all proposed PI reconstructions are equally certain. Dyaus is considered highly secure, while others are more speculative. Importantly, even within the PI framework, evolution and adaptation are evident. As noted earlier, Dyaus himself was likely conceived primarily as the bright sky and divine father, not necessarily the supreme ruler or wielder of thunderbolts that his descendants Zeus and Jupiter became. This suggests that even inherited archetypes undergo significant transformation, likely influenced by internal developments within each culture and syncretism with neighboring, non-I traditions. For example, Near Eastern storm gods influencing Zeus Jupiter. Shared ancestry thus provides a starting point, but does not preclude later divergence and borrowing. Cultural crossroads, diffusion, syncretism, and borrowing. Similarities between cultures, especially those known to have interacted, can often be explained by cultural diffusion, the spread of ideas, beliefs, technologies, and practices from one group to another, and syncretism, the blending or fusion of different religious or cultural traditions. Ancient history provides numerous examples of these processes facilitated by trade networks like the Silk Road, conquest and empire building like Hellenization or Roman expansion, migration, and simple geographical proximity. The Hellenistic period, roughly 323 BCE-31 BCE, following Alexander the Great's conquests, was a particularly fertile ground for religious syncretism across the Eastern Mediterranean and Near East. Greek culture, language, and religious ideas spread widely, interacting with local traditions. This often involved Interpretatio Graeca or later Interpretatio Romana, the practice of identifying foreign deities with familiar Greek or Roman ones based on perceived similarities in domain or function. This led to the emergence of popular syncretic deities. Zeus Ammon combined the Greek king of the gods with the Egyptian ram-headed oracle god Amun. Serapis fused aspects of Greek Zeus and Hades with the Egyptian resurrection god Osiris and the sacred Apis bull. Hermonubis merged the Greek messenger Hermes with the Egyptian psychopomp Anubis. The immensely popular cult of the Egyptian goddess Isis spread throughout the Roman Empire, where she was often identified with Greek goddesses like Demeter due to her maternal and grain-related aspects, or sometimes Persephone or Aphrodite. Similarly, the Phoenician god Melkart was equated with the Greek hero Heracles, and the Persian solar deity Mithra was sometimes identified with Helios. The Romans, having already assimilated much of Greek religion, identifying Jupiter with Zeus, Juno with Hera, Mars with Ares, etc., were particularly adept at incorporating foreign deities and cults into their diverse empire, including Eastern figures like Cybele and Mithras. This process was sometimes actively encouraged by rulers as a political strategy to foster unity and integrate conquered populations by finding common religious ground. This indicates that syncretism wasn't always an organic, bottom-up process but could be a deliberate tool of imperial administration. Beyond the well-documented Greco-Roman examples, diffusion and borrowing likely played significant roles in shaping mythologies across the ancient Near East. Potential influences include Mesopotamian creation myths like the Enuma Elish, possibly impacting the Greek theogony, for example, succession myths, battles against primordial forces. The widespread cult of the Semitic goddess Astarte, cognate with Ishtar, influencing the development of the Greek Aphrodite, and parallels between the Egyptian myth of Osiris's death and resurrection by Isis and the Greek story of Demeter's search for Persephone, both linked to agricultural cycles and mystery rites. The limitation of diffusion and syncretism as an explanation is that it requires demonstrable contact or interaction between the cultures involved. It struggles to account for parallels between cultures believed to have been isolated from each other, such as those in the Old World and pre-Columbian Mesoamerica, though some controversial theories propose ancient transoceanic contact. Additionally, the process of syncretism can be complex and multi-layered. The same foreign deity might be identified with different figures in the receiving pantheon depending on which aspects are emphasized. For example, Isis equated with Demeter for motherhood agriculture, but potentially Athena for wisdom kingship. The Persian goddess Anahita, for instance, was variously compared to Ishtar, Nanaya, Aphrodite, and Athena in different contexts. This highlights that syncretism is not a simple equation, but a dynamic process of interpretation and adaptation shaped by specific historical and cultural contexts. See the collective unconscious, Jungian archetypes and universal psychology. A third perspective, rooted in analytical psychology, suggests that mythological similarities arise from the very structure of the human psyche. Carl Jung proposed the existence of a collective unconscious, a layer of the psyche shared by all humans, containing inherited, universal patterns of thought, imagery, and instinctual behavior known as archetypes. These archetypes are not specific inherited ideas or images, but rather innate predispositions or potentials that structure our experience and are expressed symbolically in myths, dreams, art, and religious phenomena across all cultures. Jung identified numerous archetypes relevant to mythology, including foundational ones like the self, the archetype of wholeness and integration, the shadow, the repressed, unknown aspects of the personality, the anima, the unconscious feminine side in men, and the animus, the unconscious masculine side in women. Other significant archetypes manifesting in myth include the mother, nurturing, fertility, the unconscious, the father, authority, order, spirit, the child, potential, new beginnings, the hero, struggle, transformation, individuation, the wise old man woman, wisdom, guidance, spirit, the trickster, mischief, boundary crossing, transformation, and archetypal situations or motifs like birth, death, marriage, rebirth, the apocalypse, and the flood. From this perspective, the recurring figures identified in Section 2 can be seen as cultural manifestations of these universal archetypes. The Sky Father embodies the Father Spirit archetype. The Earth Mother embodies the Mother archetype. Figures like Loki, Hermes, and Prometheus express the trickster archetype. Hades, Hell, and Osiris manifest aspects of the death archetype or perhaps the shadow. Narrative patterns like the flood myth could be seen as expressions of archetypes related to destruction, purification, and rebirth. This theory aligns with earlier anthropological ideas like Edward Tyler's psychic unity of mankind, which posited that humans, sharing a common mental framework, would independently arrive at similar cultural solutions, including myths, when faced with similar existential questions or environmental conditions. The Jungian framework offers a compelling way to understand the universality of certain types of figures and themes, even appearing in cultures with no known historical contact. It suggests a shared psychological bedrock that generates these fundamental patterns. Furthermore, the theory accommodates cultural variation by positing that the archetypes themselves are abstract potentials or patterns underlying form, which are then clothed in the specific symbols, narratives, and values of a particular culture. Thus, Zeus and Odin can both be expressions of the father-ruler archetype, yet manifest differently due to the distinct cultural contexts of ancient Greece and Scandinavia. However, the Jungian approach has limitations. Its concepts are inherently difficult to verify empirically, relying heavily on interpretation. While useful for understanding broad thematic parallels and the psychological resonance of myths, it can be less effective than historical or linguistic methods at explaining the specific details, intricate narrative structures, or unique combinations of attributes found in particular myths or deities. Critics also argue that focusing solely on universal archetypes can risk overlooking or downplaying the crucial role of specific historical contexts, cultural borrowing, and unique cultural innovations. Parallel paths, independent invention, and shared human experience. A final explanatory framework posits that many similarities in mythology may arise independently in different cultures due to shared fundamental human experiences, similar environmental pressures, or the inherent logic of human thought. This perspective, often termed independent invention, suggests that humans, being inherently inventive and facing universal concerns, will naturally develop comparable myths, deities, and rituals without needing direct contact or a shared ancestry. Universal human experiences, such as birth, death, the need for sustenance, the power of sexuality, social conflict, the desire for order, and the awe inspired by natural phenomena, sun, moon, storms, seasons, provide common ground for mythological development. It seems logical that diverse cultures would independently personify the sky as a powerful father figure, the earth as a nurturing mother, the sun and moon as deities, or death as a ruler of an unseen realm. Observing the life-giving power of rain might independently lead to associating sky gods with fertility. The importance of agriculture naturally fosters myths and deities related to grain, harvest, and seasonal cycles. For example, Demeter, Osiris, Chicomicoatl. The dangers and mysteries of the sea would likely inspire sea gods in coastal cultures. For example, Poseidon, Njordr. Environmental factors play a significant role. Societies living in similar environments might develop parallel mythic explanations for shared phenomena. The inherent structure of the human mind might also lead to similar symbolic associations. For example, light with knowledge, darkness with danger, serpents with transformation or deceit. The debate between diffusionism and independent invention was central to early anthropology. While extreme diffusionism, attributing almost all cultural traits to spread from a few centers, has been largely discredited, the reality is likely a complex interplay of all factors. Some parallels stem from common descent, like pi, many from diffusion and syncretism through contact, others from the universal structures of the human psyche, archetypes, and some from independent invention driven by shared experience and environment. Independent invention provides a plausible baseline explanation for the existence of broad, universal archetypes and motifs directly tied to fundamental human experiences or observations of nature. It accounts for why sky fathers, earth mothers, sun gods, moon gods, and concepts of an afterlife appear almost universally. However, this explanation becomes less convincing when confronted with highly specific, complex, or arbitrary parallels. For instance, the detailed narrative sequence shared by several flood myths, warning, specific survivors, vessel, animal pairs, mountain landing, bird release, sacrifice, seems statistically unlikely to arise independently multiple times in such similar forms. Likewise, unique combinations of attributes in a single deity, like in Anna Ishtar's fusion of love and war, or specific, non-obvious iconographic details shared across cultures are more readily explained by diffusion, syncretism, or, in some cases, shared ancestry. Therefore, the nature and complexity of the parallel itself often suggest which explanatory frameworks might be most applicable. V. Synthesis. Identifying the most striking parallels. Evaluating the cross-cultural parallels based on criteria such as depth, structural versus superficial similarity, complexity, intricate details versus simple concepts, specificity, unique elements versus generic archetypes, cross-cultural breadth, distribution across unrelated traditions, and linguistic evidence allows for a nuanced assessment of which similarities most strongly challenge explanations based purely on coincidence or independent invention. Strongest cases challenging coincidence. Indo-European sky fathers, Dios complex. The parallels between Vedic Dios Pita, Greek Zeus Pater, and Roman Jupiter represent arguably the strongest case for non-coincidental similarity. The evidence is multi-layered, direct linguistic gates stemming from the reconstructed Pi name Dios Ph2ter. Shared core attributes as patriarchal sky gods associated with supreme authority, and similar positioning within their respective pantheons. The depth, specificity, and linguistic linkage point unequivocally to a shared historical origin and cultural inheritance within the Indo-European language family. While the archetype evolved differently in each tradition, for example, Zeus-Jupiter gaining strong storm sovereignty aspects possibly absent in Dios, the foundational connection is exceptionally clear. Flood myths, Near East/Greece/India, the narrative structure shared by the Mesopotamian, Utnapishtim time, Hebrew, Noah, Greek, Deucalion, and Hindu, Manu, flood myths exhibits remarkable complexity and specificity. Key plot points, divine warning to a chosen male survivor, instructions to build a vessel, preservation of life, family, animal seeds, survival of a world-destroying flood, landing on a mountain, and subsequent actions, sacrifice ritual leading to repopulation, recur with striking fidelity. While the theological motivations and specific details vary, the shared sequence of events is too intricate to be readily explained by independent invention based solely on the universal experience of floods. This strongly suggests either diffusion from a common source, potentially originating from catastrophic floods in Mesopotamia, or descent from a very ancient, widely dispersed ancestral narrative. Complex cases, archetype plus cultural shaping diffusion. Trickster figures. The trickster archetype itself appears universal, likely rooted in shared psychological structures, Jungian archetype, or the universal experience of social disruption and cleverness. Figures like Loki, Hermes, Prometheus, Shu, Coyote, and Anansi share core traits of intelligence, boundary crossing, rule breaking, and often shapeshifting. However, their specific myths, moral alignments, and cultural roles diverge significantly. The comparison between Loki, ultimately destructive, and Hermes, integrated messenger, highlights cultural shaping. Prometheus represents a distinct culture hero subtype. The universality points to the archetype, but the specific parallels and differences reflect cultural development, and potentially limited diffusion of specific trickster tales or motifs between interacting cultures. For example, Greco-Roman Hermes Mercury. The great goddess, multifaceted feminine power, the concentration of diverse and potent domains, love, fertility, war, magic, wisdom, sovereignty, within single powerful goddesses like Mesopotamian and Anna Ishtar and Egyptian Isis is a striking pattern, particularly when contrasted with the tendency in Greek mythology to distribute these powers among different figures. While a universal Great Mother archetype exists, likely psychological independent invention, this specific consolidation of seemingly disparate powers, especially love, fertility, and war sovereignty in the Near East and Egypt, seems culturally significant. It suggests a particular conception of feminine power in these regions that may have influenced neighboring cultures through diffusion and syncretism. For example, Ishtar started influencing Aphrodite, Isis cult spreading widely. The Hindu concept of Shakti manifesting in diverse forms offers yet another distinct model. More ambiguous cases, likely archetype independent invention plus divergence. Earth mothers. The general concept of an Earth mother deity is widespread, likely arising independently from the universal human connection to the Earth for sustenance and life, or reflecting a core psychological archetype. However, the specific figures, Gaia, Terra, Prithvi, Danu, Ninhursag, Kotluk exhibit significant variations in their myths, importance within their pantheons, and specific attributes. The Pi-link seems less consistently central or powerful in later traditions compared to the Sky Father. Furthermore, the Egyptian reversal, Geb as male Earth, Nut as female Sky, demonstrates that the gender association is not universal. While the archetype is common, The specific manifestations appear largely shaped by independent cultural developments. Underworld rulers, similar to Earth Mothers, the concept of a deity ruling the realm of the dead is near universal, stemming from the inescapable reality of death and the human need to conceptualize an afterlife. However, the rulers themselves, Hades, Hell, Osiris, Ereshkigal, Mictlantecuhtli, Yama, and the nature of their realms vary dramatically, from neutral administration, Hades, to judgment and potential bliss, Osiris, to uniformly bleak destinations, Ereshkigal, Mictlan. This wide divergence in characterization and function, despite the shared core role, strongly suggests independent cultural developments based on differing theological and philosophical responses to mortality, built upon a common archetypal foundation. Osiris stands out as particularly unique due to the resurrection theme. In synthesis, the most compelling parallels that seem to defy coincidence are those characterized by high specificity and complexity, particularly in narrative structure, flood myths, or those supported by strong linguistic evidence pointing to shared ancestry within a defined cultural linguistic group, Indo-European Sky Fathers. Universal archetypes related to fundamental aspects of nature and human experience, mother, trickster, death, are indeed found globally, suggesting common psychological roots or independent invention based on shared realities. However, the specific ways these archetypes are embodied in deities and myths show considerable cultural divergence, often shaped by historical interactions, syncretism, and unique internal developments. 6. Conclusion: convergent myths, divergent meanings. This comparative analysis of key figures and narratives across Greek, Roman, Norse, Egyptian, Mesopotamian, Hindu, Celtic, and Mesoamerican pantheons confirms the initial observation. Striking similarities in mythological themes and archetypes exist across diverse ancient cultures. Foundational figures like the sovereign Sky Father, the nurturing Earth Mother, the liminal trickster, and the ruler of the netherworld, along with complex narrative structures like the flood myth and common motifs in creation stories, appear with remarkable frequency. The explanation for these resonances is multifaceted, resulting from a complex interplay of factors rather than a single cause. Shared historical ancestry, particularly within the Indo-European language family, convincingly accounts for deep linguistic and structural parallels, most notably the Dius-Ph2-Ter complex, Zeus-Jupiter Dios-Peta. Cultural exchange through trade, conquest, and migration facilitated the diffusion of myths and practices, leading to borrowing and syncretism, especially evident during the Hellenistic and Roman periods where deities were consciously blended or identified across cultures. For example, Isis cult, Serapis, Interpretatio Greco-Romana. Universal psychological structures, as conceptualized in Jungian archetypes, offer a framework for understanding the global recurrence of fundamental character types: mother, father, hero, trickster, and themes: creation, destruction, rebirth, stemming from a shared human psyche. Finally, independent invention driven by universal human experiences, birth, death, natural cycles, and similar environmental observations likely accounts for the independent emergence of broad conceptual parallels, like sky gods or earth goddesses, in geographically isolated cultures. While some parallels might indeed be coincidental or arise from the basic logic of personifying natural forces, the analysis highlights specific instances where the similarities appear too profound, complex, or detailed to be dismissed so easily. The intricate narrative parallels in the flood myths across the Near East, Greece, and India, and the robust linguistic and thematic connections among the Indo-European Sky Fathers, stand out as particularly compelling evidence for non-coincidental connections rooted in shared history, cultural transmission, or perhaps deeply embedded ancestral narratives. The concentration of multiple powers in great goddess figures like Inanna, Ishtar, and Isis also presents a significant pattern worthy of further investigation regarding cultural conceptions of feminine divinity and potential diffusion. Ultimately, the study of these ancient mythological parallels reveals more than just historical connections or psychological universals. It underscores the enduring human quest to make sense of the cosmos, our place within it, and the fundamental forces of life, death, order, and chaos. The convergence of myths on certain archetypes and narratives highlights shared human concerns and cognitive frameworks, while the divergence in specific details, theological interpretations, and cultural roles demonstrates the unique creativity and adaptability of individual societies. These ancient stories, in their similarities and differences, continue to offer profound insights into the diverse ways humanity has grappled with universal questions, reflecting both our shared condition and the rich tapestry of cultural expression. The ongoing exploration of mythological resonance remains a vital endeavor for understanding human history, culture, and the enduring power of myth itself.